Welcome to the Positively Powerful Podcast with Coach Shimmy and Coach Key. Woo, 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 woo,
Coach Key, welcome
woo,
tonight.
woo, woo.
Welcome. Come on in. Come on
Yes.
in.
How you doing tonight, Coach Key?
We are here.
We are here
I am
gratefully.
doing well. I have gratefully well. I have missed. Oh, how I've missed this space that we've created. Yes. How about you? How you
Yes.
feeling tonight?
I am good. Like yourself, I have missed this space. I felt like we have been trying to get back here and we are here. So, whew, I'm excited about where we're going with this podcast because
Yes.
our focus is only for you to be the best you that you can be and work on the best you of you.
Absolutely. While we're doing the same thing.
Wow, we
So,
are.
yes, we're all in this thing together. Yes, definitely all in this thing together, learning and growing and walking in the best versions of ourselves each and every day. So, we're teaching and learning at the same time, for sure, for sure, for sure. Yes.
Most
So,
definitely.
um, tonight's episode is going to be one full of emotion, one full of hope and fear and uncertainty and shamefulness at times. Tonight's episode, we're going to talk about domestic violence. This is October, and October is Domestic Violence Month. Domestic violence is what I call the silent killer. This is something that both men and women deal with silently for numerous of reasons. They deal with it in silence, whether it's because of shame or guilt or frustration or love. People just deal with it in silence, but it
Mhm.
is so real, and it is going on constantly, and the numbers are getting high from the amount of deaths. So tonight we're going to jump in and just kind of think it through, talk it through, and figure out how this starts.
Mhm. And I will
Coach Jim,
definitely
what do you
say,
think?
as a person who has experienced domestic violence in my life, I this month is extremely important to me only because I want to highlight the strengths and the strong people and people who wanted to get out and couldn't get out. It seems like, especially now, every time you turn
Hmm.
on the news, somebody is getting shot, somebody is getting killed behind domestic violence. And the question is, at what point does it stop? It seems like, I don't know if just what's going on in the world now, it just seems to really, really be increasing. And you have to find a different way to express your anger. Domestic violence is never the answer. What do you think, Coach Key?
It definitely isn't. I think that it is becoming a regular thing. I think that domestic violence seems to be highlighted so often. You look on social media and you see men hitting women and women hitting men. Like, I'm saying to myself, when did this get to be a thing that was okay? Like, when did putting your hands on someone become something funny or become something cute? For me, anytime you strike a person, especially in a way that is attempting to hurt them, I don't understand how this could ever be something that is on display for a joke. All I can think about is the people who really are suffering from this. What are they feeling, and what are they thinking? It has become normalized to hit. And I think people that's dealing with it feel trapped because it has turned into being normal where people actually say, "Oh, I slap my old lady if she do such and such, or I hit my old man if like." Since when was that okay? And I just think that that's become so normal that people just think that that's the thing to do at this point.
And the sad part about it is I think society has normalized it so much because even if you see it, most of the time people are taking out their phone and recording. They're not jumping in to help. They're not jumping in to assist. They're pulling out their phone and they're
Not at
laughing
all.
and at all. And it's it's sad
What?
because it's not right on any levels. Man, woman, keep your hands to yourself. Love is not hitting. Love is not pain. Not like that. But love is definitely not I'm going to strike you. Nobody get in a relationship with their parent. So I don't need you to parent me and discipline me like I'm
Absolutely.
your child. It's like we're very grown in this matter. But even on the other side of it, even from the person's
Yes.
standpoint and talking about domestic violence and people actually the person actually in the domestic violence situation, I think even for me it was the I didn't know how I would be perceived, so I didn't say anything to
Mm,
anyone because especially depending on your class or whatever, or depending on just how you move, or even just depending on you just don't know if there's going to be some other ramifications, if you say something. So you don't say anything. But I do think that it's important that you know that you can get out. Like you don't have to stay. You can definitely get out.
when I think about it from a counselor's perspective, I'm a mental health therapist and counselor. It is much more difficult to get out than people think, um, because oftentimes people are stuck due to obligations where they may not be in a financial situation to get out, or they may not have anywhere to go, or at least that's how they feel. And the perpetrator, so to speak, has made them feel trapped. So even if they can get out, they are either so beat down about it because that person has made them feel like there is no way out, or they don't even really know how to begin. And I think that's the biggest piece, not knowing how to begin and thinking that somehow the person that's getting abused feels this is their fault, or if they just hang in there, this person will change, because that's what we call the bargaining system, where if I do this for him or her, they'll treat me and do this for me. That never works. One thing I have learned is that people are who they are. Now they show us who we
Mhm.
are. We just don't pay attention to it all the time. And we only
Mhm.
see what we want to see. And I one thing I do know, and from myself, my own personal experience, when you want something or someone, excuse me, so bad, you'll make an excuse for them. You will make an excuse to keep them and make an excuse for their behavior. So what happens in doing that, you normalize all of the things that they're doing wrong because you don't want to leave them. So you say, well, he only hit me because he was drinking. He hit me because he's under stress because of work. If I would do this better or more, he won't hit me or she won't hit me. That is not what it is. They are hitting you because that is this a decision that they have made. It has nothing to do with the person that's being hit.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, they internalize that to where they somehow wrap their head around the fact that maybe this is what they deserve. And myself too have been in a domestic violence situation, and I have made multiple excuses saying, well, if I do this, he'll do this. But ultimately, that person was who he was. I wanted it to be more because I felt like if I hung in there, it would have ended up in him loving me to death. And that's what's happening. People are getting loved to death.
Literally to death. And I think for me, so I never thought, is it me? I never thought, did I do something wrong? I never thought, I was like,
Right. That's him.
I, I was like, what is your problem? Like literally, like what is your problem? But then I it was hereditary because his mother was in an abusive relationship and grandmother, and so I had to step back and realize that, oh, he's equating this with love. And from that standpoint, it made me open my eyes to realize that people can only love you from the capacity that they know. And but you can also choose to decide that no, thank you,
Mm,
that's not the type of love. And I think for me, like I didn't it was the trap. I felt trapped because I couldn't get out fast enough. And of course it started with my mindset in knowing that this was not where I was going to be forever, because if I would have stayed, there was no going to be no forever. So it was like I had to come to the decision that what I wanted to do. So I had to make up my mind to know that I was getting out of that situation. But in that, it was like I had to come to understand I had to let go some stuff. So I had to walk away from things that I had built, from things that I had built for my peace of mind, and it was the realization of, I think that I only stayed so long because I wanted to see the good in people, and the good in him. And it was like, no, it's he is who he is, which is fine, but that don't work for me. It may work for
mm,
somebody else. And I also realized that some people like chaos. To them, the normalcy is the chaos. And that's what makes them feel normal,
mm,
and it's not at all what it
mhm,
is. Like, love is not chaos. You don't have to be in toxicity in order for you to be in a healthy relationship. That's just such an oxymoron. Like, it's not at all it. Not at all it. So,
right.
but
Yes, yes.
if we're looking at different ways that, as we are coaches, and this is something that's both personal to both of us, what would be some things that you would say to women or men, people that who are in these relationships and they're trying to figure out, even for them mentally, how can they get stronger?
Said the last part. What are they trying to figure out?
How mentally, how can they get stronger? Like, how can they build themselves up so they know that they can move and they can get better, that there is a way out?
I think one of the biggest things and one of the biggest challenges is to see people for who they are and not what we want them to be. I think that oftentimes we get so emotionally attached to people that we can't fathom the thought of being without them. So we begin to create a space in our head of what they can potentially be. And we begin to work toward the potential of them becoming that becomes less and less, because once a person loses respect for you, it typically doesn't come back. They don't lose respect for you and then wake up the next morning and everything is absolutely wonderful again. No. Abuse starts with behaviors and routine. One slap is two slaps. Two slaps is five slaps and a punch. So it continues to escalate. So for the moments that people are uncertain about getting out, I would encourage them to think about what's important to them enough to make them want to leave, whether that be their children, their parents, their loved ones, a commitment to something or someone, whatever they need in order to get out. Because in
Themselves.
my perspective, right, whatever they need to get out, but typically it is never themselves that they think of. We are always last on our list. No matter what the situation, we tend to always be last on our list. For me, when I was going through the situation, what I used to say to myself is, Coach Key, what is going to keep you going? If something happened, and that was the point for me that made me say, okay. And actually, during that time, I was not Coach Key, I was just Keisha. And I think that's what I had to hold on to. What would happen to my people that love me? And mine was hid in shame, so nobody knew. And that's worse. And I think that's what people do. They hold it in or hold it captive out of fear of being
Mhm. Exposed.
ashamed or
Mhm.
exposed or felt like, oh my God, like I'm Coach Key. I'm supposed to have it together. I teach them. But the fact that they don't want to be exposed and they want to be private and they want to keep things to themselves. So the best suggestion I would think would be to figure out what matters to you in this life. What
Mhm.
keeps you strong? What keeps you going? Because when you figure out what keeps you going, you'll realize that this situation is not going to work for you as you're striving to be better. What do you think?
I think, as you said in the beginning, it's good to see people with your eyes wide open. Even even taking a step back and just looking at people. And generally people who are physical or abusive, usually it's not just to you. Usually it's to the people around them as well. So I think if you really take a step back and look at people and look at how people treat people, I think that you'll be able to see, you know, exactly how people are. And I think also we want what we want. And sometimes we walk into these situations thinking that they won't do us like this, or it won't be me. Or if you feel like them little nudgings or whatever,
Mm.
then you like, oh, I because I'm so great. I'm such this great, amazing person that, I'm gonna be the one to heal them and change them and, get everything out of them because they won't do me like that because our love is going to be the love that heals all.
Right.
And
Right.
generally what happens is you become one of them.
I'm the exception.
And that's not at all the case. And it's not,
I
you
am the exception to the rule.
right, right,
Always.
right. And I can laugh about this on because I have made it to the other side, which healing is absolutely possible. The other side is absolutely possible, but it's going to take some work. One is going to take you
Yes.
believing that you can do it, that you can get out, that there is another side. And then it's going to take some work because you're going to have to plan this. It's not just, I want this today and tomorrow it happens. Like, you're realistically going to have to be very strategic about moving and setting stuff. But if you move in the way that you want to move in the opposite direction, then you can move and get, further away from the situation. And God works.
And know that you're not the problem. Like, don't internalize it like this is you. Yes, it does. You better say that. It definitely is. And don't be ashamed, because so many of us have gone through this, and we have this whole greatness that we put up, like, oh no, I am great, I am happy, I am going to work, my man, my man, my man, my lady, my lady, my lady, and what is really going on. But understand, in the long run, that only hurts you. You have definitely got to see people for who they are and not who you want them to be, because you're only fooling yourself by being in a situation that allows people to be who you want them to be. That
Mhm,
never works. It never
mhm.
ever works. And there is no shame for someone else's behavior. At the end of the day, we can only control
Right.
ourselves, no matter what somebody else does, no matter how we
Mhm,
protect them, defend them. Those are still their actions. The one thing I
mhm.
had to learn is love is an action word.
You better
So
say that.
if you love me, this is the love that you're giving me, I'll pass. Because one thing you can't do is tell a person how to love you, but you can tell them whether or not you want to participate in the way that they're
Mm,
loving you. And
mm,
domestic abuse and verbal abuse, all of that hurts. And believe it or not, verbal abuse sometimes hurts more than physical abuse, because with verbal
mhm,
abuse, you replay it in your head. Abuse, am I really worth nothing? An idiot? Am I really not smart? Am I really ugly to keep you up at night? See, the bruises will heal, but the verbal abuse, it stays. It stays in your mind, and it stays in your spirit. I learned a long time ago. If you hear something long enough, it may begin to have a ring of truth, because especially when it's coming from someone that quote unquote loves you. So
mm.
if you love me and you're telling me this, it must be true. I must be stupid. I must be ugly. I must be fat. I must be the type of woman that nobody would ever want. I must be the type of man that nobody would ever want. Because if you love me and you're telling me what we feed our mind and spirit, and my biggest thing is, think of the source.
Mhm.
How can someone tell you something about you and they have no self control? Say you are, no one
Mhm.
else.
Mhm. And usually when people are projecting their feelings
You
off on you.
definitely who you say you are.
Right. It's saying generally people are projecting that off on you. They're just really mirroring what they feel, which they're mirroring their insecurities, their doubts, their fears, their failures. And you are just the recipient that is in front of them.
Absolutely.
So there seems to be. Okay. So let's say if you are, let's say you are the person. You're the person who is the person who is the creating the domestic violence. And you said, "You know
When
what?"
you are in a good space with yourself, when you are in a good space with yourself,
You're asking? I think there's a lag. It's so if you are the person who is actually the abuser and you as you work on yourself, you realize that this is not how you want to live. And luckily, as you've gotten grown, you realize that this is not what love really is. What would be some of your recommendations that they can seek help so that way they can, if they wanted to change, if they wanted some help? What would be some recommendations? Some places they can get some assistance. Okay. So I was asking Coach Key. So for the one thing I love about our podcast is this is for everybody. So as much as near and dear this is to us and as personal this is to us, I want to make sure that we try to address everybody. So let's say if we are talking to the person who is the abuser, and let's just say that in their mind that or this is something that they grew up with, so they thought that this was normal, or they're feeling conflicted and they want to change. What would you say are some ways that they can begin to, I guess, change if they no longer want to be in that situation, if they no longer want to be the abuser?
I acknowledge that there is a problem because it's hard to work through something when the person think that everything's okay. So the first step I would be that I would say to the abuser would be, is there a problem? What along the become comfortable with this behavior? As you said, is this something that you saw growing up? Is this something that you saw on TV? What in you snapped to where in your mind this is the way that you handle a situation? What has happened in your life to where you feel that this type of behavior exudes love for whomever this is happening to? What does heal from this situation look like? I would ask, I would also ask, how would you feel if this was your mother or your daughter or your aunt? Because those answers will tell you a lot about the abuser. If the abuser says, "Oh my God, if that was my auntie, my mama, I would go off and I would do this and I would do that," that's how the person that you're abusing, that's how their family would feel if they knew.
Mhm.
However, if the same abuser says, "She must have had it coming, she must have deserved it, he must have deserved it," that is something that they have experienced. That is something that has happened in their life to where whoever was doing that to them convinced them that this is how you handle it. And that if you do this, you deserve this. So the answer will tell you how much work is needed. But those are the ways that I will begin the conversation just to kind of figure out what their thought process is, because their thought process will tell you how they're going to handle it, and if they're even wanting to handle it. It is very difficult to get away from things that were instilled in us. Very, very difficult. People say change is inevitable. It is, but it's also very difficult, especially when it goes against everything that you've been taught. If you've been taught, you talk crazy to me, you talk smart mouth to me, I'm gonna punch you. Who am I to tell you that that's not the way? When you were growing up, your mom or your dad or aunt or uncle, whomever, when you got smart, they punch you in the face. So now when your girlfriend or boyfriend or wife or husband says something to you that you don't like, well, my mama punched me in the face or my daddy punched me in the face, so this is the way. How do I change that? Well, for 40 years, this is how I've dealt with it. So it would really take some real soul searching, real commitment to healing and growth to get there. But it's possible. It's definitely possible.
And so for me, I feel like, especially as we're grown, when does right and wrong kick in? Like common sense that if somebody walking down the street and they just punch you in the face, is that love? Or you will be ready to beat them down?
I would like to think that it's not to get them for sure. But nowadays, I think the lines of right and wrong have become so blurred, we can't determine what's right and wrong anymore. So everything that used to be an issue seems to become normalized. So I don't know. And definitely, common sense is definitely not common, because the very thing that you think, the very thing that you would think, okay, we learned this as kids. Keep your hands to
To
yourself.
yourself.
I'm sure we learned that
Mhm.
in kindergarten. I know we
Mhm.
right along with not eat the glue. I'm sure all that was right together. Yes, and not to eat the glue. All that
Right.
came right together. So somewhere along the way, I don't know, somewhere along the way, we did not eat the glue, but we still, accepted hitting. So
Right.
I don't know how we got away from that. I don't know
Mhm.
how that happened, but it's amazing what
Right.
tolerance will do. Like love itself is an addiction, a dangerous
Mm.
addiction. And it's amazing what a person can convince you of when you love them.
Mhm.
I've been a therapist for a long time, and I used to do group therapy. And there was a lady in group therapy, and she actually said her husband hits her because he loves her.
Hmm.
And I was a new therapist. I had only been a therapist maybe about 2 years or so. And I was just so taken aback by it. But at 45, I know what she means. Because at 45, through her eyes, he loves me. He hits me because he wants me to do better. He wants me to listen to him. So that's why he hits me. He's doing this out of love to help me be better. When realistically, he's killing her physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
And then
So
even
love
my
is a
question
dangerous, dangerous thing.
is, can you hit them in return and say that's love?
Absolutely not. The aggressor is never taking any licks. No. If that man or that woman hits back the person that hit them, they can't believe what's going on. Did you just hit me? Are you crazy? The nerve of you.
Right.
And that
Right.
behooves me, to say the
Right.
least.
Right. Right.
But it's always a dish it out, but can't take it situation
Mhm.
anyway. That's
Mhm.
is always that. People
Right.
can dish it out and they can't take it. Whether that's physical abuse or
Mhm.
verbal abuse or
Mhm.
emotional abuse. Typically,
Mhm.
abuse in general, people can dish it, but they cannot take it. And typically, the person that's giving out the abuse is so broken. So they come across a rah,
Mm.
rah, rah, real aggressive. But you tell him one of his
Mhm.
eyes go further left than the other one, and he's ready to fight,
Right.
because his self esteem is so low.
Mhm.
So, sir, your eyes, they're really not matching. And are you looking at me or are you looking at the lady across the street? Because he can't tell he's mad because those are his own. He's very upset. Meanwhile, he has called her everything. He's called her a
Mhm.
hippopotamus and everything else. All she said is his eye wanders sometime and she wonder where it went. And now he's out of control. So yeah, people definitely can. I'm just telling you, that's how it goes. People can dish it, but they cannot take it.
Right.
And that's why I
Mhm.
say the person that hits or verbally abuses the person is a coward.
Right.
And you said it best
Right.
earlier. It is a reflection of what they feel about
Mhm.
themselves. That is so
Mhm.
true.
Mhm.
So true.
Yes. Yeah. So it's I
I have a question for
want
you.
yes.
I have a question for you, sis.
Yes.
How do you feel that you made it to the other side?
You know, I am so grateful to God because the first time it happened, I was very caught off guard
Mhm.
because I did nothing to provoke it. It was somebody else looked at me, but I caught the brunt of it. And when it happened,
Right.
it was immediately like, what just happened? And I was very, very young. And it was like, I just didn't know what to expect. But I also I began to see the signs,
Mm.
and then I began to even just look further, and I saw that, it was hereditary. His mom was abused, and he was just an abuser, just even in past relationships. And it
Mm.
became not even love, it became control. And I think that when people are
Mm.
abusers equate love to control, and it's not even because it's love. I think that they just throw the word love around because it's easier for the other person to digest, when that's
Mm.
not really the case. So, I will say, it's on as a person on the other
Mm.
side, it's number
Good.
1,
They
believe that.
make it easier for them to digest. I think that is the best
Mhm,
way to put it. I love that.
mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the,
For
being on
me,
the other side.
yours was younger. I think
Mhm,
your situation was younger. Mine's was older. So yeah.
mhm. And I think it's the you never think that it's gonna happen to you also.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly
And
what it is. This would never happen to me.
mhm, mhm. But I want to just let people know that I just want to say that we have the strength and the courage that you absolutely can do it, and know that we're grateful because you're not by yourself. You have people like us, the Empowerment Sisters, that are definitely here to help pour into you, to help strengthen you, and to help you grab some of your mindset back, to let you know that you can escape and you can get out, and that there is another side. And we can help you find resources, and support groups that are out there that can really help you just move. But again, it takes work.
And it's private. Like, it is not something that anybody has to know. It's all confidential.
Mhm.
You can, reach out to the Empowerment Sisters. The Empowerment Sisters email is Empowerment Sisters, SISTAS23 at gmail.com. A soft place to land. You are not alone. And it doesn't matter if you are being abused at an early age, a middle age, a younger age, a old age. It's wrong at any age.
Mhm.
And know that you are not alone, regardless of the situation, regardless of how it looks. You are not alone, and this is not your fault. I think that's the
Mhm.
biggest takeaway, that this is not your fault. And it, like
Mhm.
I said, it happens to all ages. Coach Jimmy
Mhm.
was younger, Coach Key was older. So it had
Mhm.
never ever happened to me, and I was in my 40s, so I was taken aback and I was scared. And mine was from the person was an alcoholic, and I just got the side of the alcohol. So,
Mhm.
and I was in my 40s. So it happens whether you're young or old, but either way, you are still not at fault and you're not alone. I can't stress that enough, because oftentimes the abuser makes the person feel like they are alone, they are trapped, they have nowhere to
Mhm.
go and no one to talk to. That is not true. That is a big form of control and manipulation. So know
Mhm.
that there are so many people out here that are dealing with the same thing. So know that you can get out. Do not allow anybody to love you to death. Just don't.
Mhm. Mhm.
You are here and you deserve to be here.
Mhm. And learn to recognize the signs. Like, don't ignore the signs. Do not ignore. Definitely walk in life with your eyes wide open and see people. So we are at our time. That was a heavy, 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 but much, much needed episode. But much needed. Want to definitely, tell people that you can make it. So switching over to what we have going on this month. We have a lot going on. We are around town and we're just out here. And so coming up in our events, Coach Key, our first one.
Our first upcoming event will be Clear Your Space. It is next Tuesday, October the 14th, 2025, and in our lives and talking a little bit more about verbal abuse and domestic abuse.
All right, you
We have
definitely
two
want
additional events. Uh,
let's see, you
we have
definitely
two
want to be in the
additional
room.
events. Yes, we do. Yes. So Clear Space is every month, and the time is truly had. So you don't definitely don't want to miss that. There is a link on Eventbrite that will allow you to get it. It's called Clear Your Space. It's October the 14th, 2025, but you can also get the information If needed, you can email klink at bridgetopurpose.com or the Empowerment Sisters, SISTAS 23 at gmail.com. We also have two additional events in your boardroom. In October 29th, 2025 is Brain Break. Coach Shim is going to break those two down for you.
Yes. So exciting, exciting, exciting event on October 18th. It is a virtual event at 11 a.m. Who's in your boardroom? Trust me, you want to be in the room because this event is going to, well, all of our events. This is definitely going to be another mind-blowing event. The concept of this event is there are 6 versions of us that we carry around all the time. We carry around our child us, our teenager us, our current us now, our us when we are masked, I have our mask on, our us when we are broken, and our current version of our future us, because I'm sure your future version has changed a couple times over the years. But literally, you are materializing and putting in physical form each of these 6 versions of you, so that way you can give them a place at your boardroom, which you are the CEO of your life. So you are your boardroom. So you're sitting them there at the boardroom table and you're essentially having a conversation. What is it that you need to heal, grow, leave? What is it that you need? Because you're carrying these versions around with you, and who shows up, who's present. So this is like I said, you want to be in the room because you need to connect with your versions basically, so that way you can heal. And so excited about that. The cost is $20. The event is on Eventbrite, under Who's in Your Boardroom. You can also just reach out to us. Email Empowerment Sisters, SISTAS 23 at gmail.com. And then also, we're going to slow it on down on October 29th. We're going to take a brain break. Our brain break is going to be some meditation. I am a huge fan of meditation, and I believe that sometimes we are just running, 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 and we just need to slow down so we can hear, slow down so we can just decompress. And breathing is very important, and meditation allows us to just slow our body down, our whole body down, and just be able to really just connect with us, be present, be mindful, and really be able to clear and hear. So that's October 29th from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. I will be there. Yes, I will definitely be there.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
I am so happy that you guys joined us today. You could be anywhere and doing anything, but you chose the Empowerment Sisters tonight. And we are just so grateful for that. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so happy to be with all of you guys tonight as we continue to move forward in our podcast. We're looking forward to each and every one of you joining our podcast family. Each
and
month, we
thank
will
you.
be discussing these topics and all of that stuff that are plaguing our lives.
And thank you to everybody who listened to the first episode and gave feedback. I know that you've been waiting on us anxiously to roll out these new ones. So we are so grateful for you.
Absolutely. So until next time, continue to walk in the best version of you. And with that being said, love,
Love,
peace,
peace,
and
and
chicken
chicken
grease.
grease. Woo, woo,
And
woo.
chicken grease. Woo-hoo. Good night.
Good night.